Hour 2 Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, Yodoc, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, Mike Johnson coming up here in a moment. Johnny was in Jersey calling that Leaf game last night. Get his take on that. Noodles, you were in Ottawa calling the game last night. Big start for the Sens, and we were doing our thing back here in Toronto. It was a beautiful afternoon yesterday. Great night for sports. It's going to be a great weekend for sports.
How did the Sens look, Noodles, kind of close up? Anything different, or what was their deal out there?
You know, they had a quick start. Like, they had lots of emotion. I think they were worried. It was their first game. Florida's second game. And a lot of times your first game, you're still trying to get some cadence and some habits and that. And I think they were kind of had that nervous start, but they looked really good early on. But I'll say this, and I even had a scout. I was talking to a scout today that was at the game last night. He's like, God, is Florida good? Like, Florida's they just know how to play hockey. And they didn't play well last night. And now, they didn't even play well, but they generated some really good looks. But the difference in the game for me, because I've seen that game, 50 times over the last couple of years, where it could go one way or the other, and a goal or a play just breaks their back.
And it goes for the other team.
Allmark made some saves at the right time. He made a couple really good saves and a couple massive, huge saves in the third where the Panthers tilted the ice, and they really leaned into him. And Allmark, there was 2 or 3 shifts where one defense pairing, that third pairing for the Sens, got trapped out there for north of 2 minutes. And it was just Florida buzzing, and Allmark, made a couple huge, huge saves.
Noodles, think about those comments you just made of all the games you've done. Probably haven't said that a ton.
Well, or the outcome is different. That's my point. Like there was a play yesterday where I thought, okay, maybe, and I said this, that the new players were going to have to contribute. And Amadio looked good, Perron looked good, obviously Allmark looked really good. But then I said in my opening, it doesn't matter what those guys do if the if the core doesn't get to the next level. And I said, Timmy Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Shane Pinto, the guys that are there. And Stützle, in the third period, where they were getting in some trouble, he grabbed the puck one time and said, you know what, I'm just going to skate it out myself and use my speed and strength. And he got it to the red line and chipped it in. It was a mature play. And, I thought he had a mature night, looked good. Obviously, you get 2 goals, that helps, right? I'm more concerned that it looks like Barkov's week to week. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like a sprain.
Yeah.
Nothing significant, like not a major injury, but a sprain.
It's enough that he needed help to get off the ice. And actually, both teams were kind of like, oh, this isn't good. Your respect. He carries so much respect. Mm-hmm. But, it looks like, this was the play here. Joe from the Bridge is playing it. He doesn't have a stick because he snapped it. They both went hard into the boards. And, Barkov got up like his right leg, something wasn't right. He couldn't put any weight on it.
That's trouble. It sounds as if they've dodged a pretty significant bullet, because that could have been Drew Doughty territory.
Yeah,
going
exactly.
like that. That's, if you're month to month or something broken or fractured, that's significant. Sounds like a bad sprain, and they'll probably shut him down for quite some time.
Even week to week, that guy's a big hole. Like,
he is,
somebody's got to step up and play.
It's your number one guy.
No matter how good they are, Noodles said, people talk about Florida, they could be in a hole in 2 weeks if someone doesn't step up and fill that void.
That's right. You're chasing it, man. It's your number one guy. Like, he's captain. Plays every scenario. It's a big loss.
It is, but getting back to Ottawa, they looked good. There's work to be done there, but put it this way: a win is a win, and the goaltender I thought was the biggest difference between last year and this year, and
changes everything.
But
changes
he's not going to have.
It was crushing for them last year.
Yeah, but
crushing.
I don't know how many games he's going to play, but he looked pretty damn good last night. That's all I'll say.
I think you got to pencil him in for 55, don't you?
I think so.
You've paid him now.
Yeah.
I know he was a tandem guy, but if you're Travis Green, you're talking to him, I think, and saying, listen, you're the guy. There's no competition. We're in business with Linus Ullmark. We've just paid you. We've committed to you.
Yeah.
We need you to play 55 games.
I think
we need you to get us to 97, 98 points to get in. We got to get in, and you got to be the guy to do that for us.
It's one game last night, but just think about, and coaches don't ever want their team to bluff it and just be like, you play awful and you got some power play goals, but you really didn't deserve to win, the old win-o-meter. But if they were garbage and gave up a bunch of goals and he just let in some muffins, they'd be watching video all day today. They'd have a hard-ass practice. Everybody's miserable. It's okay to feel good about yourself after one game and be like, guys, like we just beat the Florida Panthers.
Yeah,
Like what a difference of just confidence in the group when that guy does that.
And they were in the game. That's the
Yes.
thing. It wasn't a stolen game.
Yes,
It was,
and they can go from we stink to we can just clean this up a little bit and we'll be even better the next game. I love that.
Head down the QEW to Buffalo, where they blew it
0-3.
last night.
You watch yourself. You are all over those Sabres.
They're 0-3. They're 0-3,
Yeah.
and they had that game last night. They're up 1-0 in full control, and just bing, bang, boom, see you later. Kopitar pots 2 last night. He's still dancing, man. He still looks good. And you're 0-3. You went all the way to Prague. You came home opener, feeling good, up 1-0. No thanks. See you later.
No,
It's just a crushing start for a team on the outside. Again, Florida can survive it. If Florida lost to Boston and lost last night, they'd be like, all right, even with Barkov out, they'd breathe. They'd say, cup hangover. We got to smarten up here. Not good. Got to figure this out. Boston, they respond. They get a win over Montreal last night. All right, everything's okay. We're breathing easy. When you're the Buffaloes, the Ottawas, Detroit gets blown up by Pitt last night. Like it just.
What does Buffalo have to do? Do they have to go like if they go 0-4? Are you guaranteeing they miss the playoffs? Like what is
Yes.
it? We do a little
Really?
hashtag.
Yes, I'm saying that.
You're
I don't think they're making the
guaranteed 4
playoffs
games
anyway.
in?
I don't think they're making the playoffs
Son of a-
anyway.
You.
If
That's
they were
enough.
3-0, I still wouldn't think they'd make the playoffs. I'd give them full credit. Good start. Hey, maybe things are working there. You know, everything's moving in the right direction. Those defense are starting to make plays, and everyone's coming back. And Tage Thompson's going to redeem himself.
Well, what I hope
from
doesn't
2 years
happen
ago.
is, and what happens in a vicious, we got to bring in Johnny, don't we?
Yeah, Johnny will weigh
I
in on
haven't
that.
heard. I don't know if
He's here. He's been
is
waiting
Johnny
for
just
Yeah, he's
waiting
been
us
here.
talk.
He's been waiting a long time.
Oh, no one said anything to me. All right, maybe next time just give us a heads up. Mike Johnson joining us here on the Maple Soda Hotline. Sorry, Johnny. I hope you have nothing to do and you were cool just sitting there listening to me take a bet that if the Sabres start 0-4, I guarantee they miss the playoffs.
Hey, whenever you're ready, I'm here at your disposal. You know what I mean? Like, just if you want to wax on the Sabres. Now, hey, I could probably say, hey, if they start 3-0, would you take them to miss the playoffs? You still probably
Yes,
would anyways.
I still would.
He just
4-0.
clarified that.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. That's true. That's valid. I mean, honestly, if they were 4-0, I'd say, my Jerry's is 49%. They make the playoffs. I just don't see
He
it
hates them,
happening.
though. That's why. I mean, he hates the city of Buffalo, and he always has.
I
and-
like Buffalo.
Yeah, no, there's
I like the
zero-
outskirts of Buffalo. Downtown, I could take or leave.
But guys, what
You
they
know,
can't have happen again is some of the guys they got for, let's say Tuck. Okay, they got Tuck because a guy named Eichel didn't want to be there, and he said, "Get me out of here." Or there was whatever. So Tuck comes in, and this is probably going to be his 3rd year of misery. And what if he all of a sudden says, "Get me out of here too, because I'm sick of it." It's just that turns into a vicious cycle.
I don't
man.
think he will, though. He's a local guy.
I get it.
gonna
He's an
wanna-
upstate New York guy, but like Noodles, veteran guys being around that, losing every night, sooner or later, if you have the opportunity, you're like, okay, check, please.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's the concern. And I think just the losing in general, because any other team, well, not like virtually any other team, like a Boston, like a Florida, they lose the first 2 games, the first 3 games. Everyone's like, oh, it's too bad. Let's get it together. We're fine. But they don't have any sort of positive experience to draw from. They don't have any reason to believe it's going to be fine because it hasn't been fine for like a decade in Buffalo, no matter what they've tried. So that's the issue. Like, not only are they getting off to a slow start, not only do they go to Europe and didn't pick up any points, but you're taking what little sort of confidence and belief you have in the group to begin with, because everyone has a little bit to start the year because you're just naturally optimistic, and it's dissipating quickly. It's getting away from them before they even know it, and that makes it that much harder to win games. So they're in trouble. Like, if they don't pick up points the next 10 days, if they go 0-4, 0-5-6, like, their season's over before we even get to Halloween. Like, that's the reality for Buffalo.
Well, and Johnny, the climb on that, it's they're playing in the toughest division in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That's That's you compound a slow start. Well, that's basically you compound a slow start, and it's maybe in a division where you can stay on par with a team that's a bottom feeder or something like that. That division, the Atlantic, is a serious division. So you can't be 4, 6, 8 points out, 6 weeks into the season and go, that's it. That's check, please. Regardless of how if you have a good comeback and storm back and kind of try and get in, it's too late. You won't be able to make those points up based on the quality of competition of what you're playing. That's what concerns me for Buffalo. I will say this. It's still premature. 3 games
Very
is 3
early.
games.
Very
But this
early.
is everyone looks at it like it's NFL. Like it's,
It feels that way, though, again. Like, if Carolina starts 0-3, I think they're in trouble, right? If the Panthers are 0-3, I don't see a miraculous comeback. Sabres have to prove that they're taking that next step. And this conversation started with Ottawa and that win last night. Like, regardless of how it looks, it's a big 2 points, and Ullmark, played great. You beat Florida. Like, you got to have positive vibes. And, like, let's be clear, if the Leafs lost last night, the tone around here would be totally different, right? It doesn't take long for people to say, what's up? Like, what are they doing? Where are the big boys?
No.
Why didn't they
Takes
score?
2 games for a market to freak.
Absolutely. And that now you can breathe after last night, Johnny, because the Leafs played pretty well and they got a win.
Yeah, they did what they had to do. It's funny because like they probably should have beaten Montreal, right? Like they put up so many shots.
Yeah.
They didn't play great, but they probably should have won. And they'd be 2-0 now, and you think people would be really happy, regardless of the style points that they may or may not be picking up while playing this way. Like I thought the whole point of Craig Berube and changing the team and a bit of a different philosophy and different strategy was that they will look different. That's the whole point. They're supposed to look different. And different might not always be sexier or more offensive or, better chance generation. It might be a little grindier, might be a little murkier, might be not quite as aesthetically pleasing. But if they're winning, that's what they're trying to do. They're taking 82 games to figure out a style of play that will win enough in the regular season, but more importantly, win in the playoffs. And like last night's game was not a Mona Lisa. It wasn't a beauty game, but they defend really well. They didn't give up too much. Their goaltending's been solid and better in their own end. And that's part of the process. Now the big guys got to figure it out. The power play's got to get going. That kind of stuff still needs to go. But you'd think knowing what Craig Berube was trying to do was sort of changing the temperament of this team, you'd be pleased with the wins and the performance, even if they haven't been, gorgeous games to watch.
Which Maple Leaf player last night do you think was most inspired to perform in front of Sheldon Keefe?
Nick Robertson.
Yeah.
I would think. He had a good game. Actually.
Yeah, he did.
He played. He's quick, strong on the puck. Him and Pacioretty got a little something going back and forth together. They don't play too much, which is okay. Like, they're not playing a ton of minutes, but it's definitely Robertson because I think he was the one guy. Like, the big guys, they might have had their gripes with Sheldon Keefe, but we put up a board last night. Like, what are they going to complain about? They all were, like, point-a-game players making $10 million a year under the tutelage and program of Sheldon Keefe. Like, you may not like the guy, but you can't say he didn't help you in your career and in your pocketbook. Whereas Nick Robertson would say, that guy screwed me. That guy didn't believe in me. That guy was wrong about me. And I think for him, he was probably particularly pleased to get up, to pick up a point. I think he hit in the game and to play relatively well in a win.
Johnny, how close was William Nylander? If he had got an extra 2 with that amount of time on the clock,
right to the bout. He would have to go out the devil door to not go down the bench and take the long way around. Like, don't even bother going back near the bench. And I said it during the broadcast. Like, he stepped on the ice in the flow of play, so he didn't get to go right to the Leafs bench. And you're right, he was kind of reaching and grabbing again, and he was already clearly fresh in the game. He'd smacked his stick a couple times. He swung at the puck after taking a deserved bad penalty. And you're wondering if he was just sort of out of it, that he might have taken another one. And if he would have, that would have been it. But I thought even so, after the first 1-0, I said, I don't think he'll go on the ice again. There's like 4 minutes left. Like, I don't think, and he didn't, nor should he have. But I think he was on tilt, to put it in poker terms, and he was close to doing something really unwise that I think would have gotten a significant reaction from Craig Berube.
Absolutely. With Mike Johnson, seeing it up close and personal regular season, what do you make of Tanev and Ekman Larson and their contributions?
So Tanev, man, I know it's only 2 games, so we temper everything. He's really good. Like, he's so good at, like, going back and getting pucks, taking a hit, making a little bump play for his partner so his partner has time, or taking a hit and sliding one up to a guy on the tape with a little space so he has time. Like, he makes it. Yes, we know what's impressive is we know he's good defensively, right? Like, you know, off the rush and in front of the net. But what helps himself, Tanev specifically, is he does a lot of little things so he doesn't have to play defense so much. Like, he makes good passes to get out of his own end so he's not in there all the time. It's really impressive. Lots of subtle plays. You got to watch closely. You got to kind of pay attention to what's going on because they're not super sexy ones. You're like, that's a good play. That's a good play. That's a good play. Always helping his teammates on the ice. And Ekman Larson, and we noticed this about him last year in Florida. I didn't associate Ekman Larson with sort of a physically engaged level style of defense, but he is. Like, he uses his stick and he clears guys out in front and he cross-checks and bangs away. And again, another guy who can pass the puck pretty well. So, yeah, like, I think Tanner's really good, and Ekman Larson and McCabe, they've been solid. Like, I think they've looked like you would want them to look, like they are supposed to look to help this team. The biggest question is, can they do it durability? Can they do it energy-wise? Because they're both a little bit older, but at their best, they're players that Toronto has needed, a style of player that Toronto has needed.
What do you make of the goaltender? I mean, I know it's only one game.
Gigantic noodles.
Yeah, he's a monster, eh? Yeah.
And I don't know anything about, sort of technically goaltending, but big guys specifically, when they get moving laterally and up and down, a lot of them look a little floppy, like a little messy. The chest falling over and body parts start moving around. He's not like that. He's still crisp. He moves around like a 6'2" guy, but he's a 6'7" guy. Really good. He had made some really athletic saves where he looks much smaller because of the way he's moving than he actually is. I don't know what more you want from him. I didn't love the Meyer goal. You probably want to squeeze that one. But he made a lot of good saves. He looked confident and comfortable. The team was good in front of him. If that's your 3rd or 4th goalie, you're in pretty good shape. He looks like he's the real deal.
Yeah, that was big last night. I think he had something, to say to Sheldon Keefe as well, because Keefe wouldn't play him last year, and a different scenario because he was still young and raw, and he was their 4th goaltender. But to play like that against Sheldon, to get a win, I think that's significant. We know Stolarz are going tomorrow night, and Pittsburgh looked awful opening night against New York, and then they go into Detroit, and they beat up on Detroit last night. I think it'll be a really fun atmosphere tomorrow, like long weekend, opening night, Saturday night, Sid's in town. What are you looking for in the game tomorrow night, and what would you expect Sid in particular to bring to the table?
Well, I think Pittsburgh will show they can create, they can't defend, right? And I think you'll see Sid do what he does, like battle hard and be effective and make nice plays and, do the things that he usually does. But this will be a challenging game for Toronto because what they will want to do in the recesses of their mind, Hayes, they will drop back to last year like, man, we can just go up and down the ice with these guys and we'll blow them out. We'll win 7-5. Like, that's what they're thinking. It's going to get a little loose and there'll be some turnovers and rush chances. And it would be instinctively natural to try to go back to that because they've done that and they've been successful doing it. What they'll be told to do is like, no, we're not going to open it up. We're going to check them into submission and counterattack, and we might win 4-1, which is a different mindset, even though the result might end up sort of the same 2 or 3 goal win. That's what I'm curious. Like the big guys, obviously they haven't scored a goal yet. Tavares got a nice one last night, but the other 3 haven't got a goal yet, and they're craving one at this point. So will they stay with the game plan? If they're winning, it'll last longer. But if they're not producing, then they'll be getting frustrated. So I'll be curious. I'll be curious if they kind of play that same disciplined game plan. I think they will. I think they want to do what the new coach is asking them to do. But they'll look at the opposition thinking, oh, it could be point night. Let's light it up and let's let this game get a little crazy. And that's exactly what Berube is trying to get away from.
Well, and on top of that, Matthews hasn't scored yet. Marner hasn't scored yet. Nylander hasn't scored yet. It's only 2 games, but I thought, like I said the other day or yesterday, Johnny, like Matthews opening night, right down Broadway, 2 seconds on the clock, feels like he scores that last year. Like that just goes in. They tie the game. They go to overtime. They find a way to maybe they beat the Habs, maybe they lose, but they leave with a point. Last night he had a wide open net, empty net, and he missed.
Yeah, Mystic Mike was paying close attention how he missed that one.
Mystic Mike, you had him, I believe, anytime goal scorer last night.
I did. I did. And
there was some pressure on him, but you know, he just got it off quick. But like last year, routine for him. Routine for him. And again, I'm not saying he's not going to score 50 plus. I think he will. But I guess what I'm getting at is last year was so magical. Everything went in. Everything worked. And it's just not reasonable to think you're pushing up on 70 probably ever again. It was just a magical year. Everything broke his way.
Well, guys, and Johnny, what does it look like ice level or with Gord? Their power play, it's not too early to say it stinks right now. Like, stinks.
It hasn't been good through 2 games at all. Yeah. Now, in their defense, in the games they played in the preseason, they scored goals, right? They were like 3 for 8 or something like that. So, like, they scored goals, but
Nick Robertson was scoring them.
Well, I think Austin had 1, and then maybe 2, and Tavares had 1. But yeah, like you're right, Nick had some when he was playing. But you know what it's like? You play in the power play. You're good in the power play, right? Like even if you don't score, you're feeling good about what you're doing on the power play. You're creating chances. You got zone time. You're getting the kind of shots you want. They may not go in because that's how it works in hockey, but you're doing what you want to do. And then you have moments, and you know this too, where like, we're not doing anything out here. Like, we're not generating anything the way we want, the looks we want, the time we want. And right now for the Leafs, it's a ladder. Like, it wasn't very good. The entries weren't very good. They didn't spend enough time in the offensive zone. Sort of perimeter stuff, not a lot of seam plays. Yeah, it hasn't been good. Now, I believe it's going to be fine between the players and Marc Savard. They'll figure it out. But given this new style of play, it's more important than ever that the power play provides a little sustenance to the top guys for their goals and their assists to help them stay with the program at 5-on-5. You don't want them chasing the points that they need at 5-on-5 because they're not getting on the power play. So it's really important, not only to win games, but sort of the psychology of the top guys that it gets better. So it hasn't flat out hasn't been very good.
Well, the one thing too, Johnny, and I think this is what you couple a slow start, we'll call it, for statistically for them, but you know it's always sloppy to start the season. They're just not as crisp. Secondly, people are aware, like the Edmonton Oilers, the Toronto Maple Leafs, like these top tier, skilled teams, like teams that are game planning against them, you're not going to get a free night. Like that power play, if you're game planning against the Maple Leafs power play, like I think the focus would be to try and disrupt any type of entry, because once they get set up and start moving, like you're going to get team's best. That's the way where I'm headed, is you're not going to get an easy night from the other team because they're going to give you everything they've got based on kind of who you are and the reputation you are, especially with the Leafs in the regular season. It's, hey, this team can score, they can be dangerous, limit their time and space. If I'm on the penalty kill against Marner, I make sure I'm heavy on him because that's the guy who kind of all runs through. He distributes the puck as good as anybody. So they have to fight through maybe something other teams don't have to fight through because of reputation, because they do have that top tier skill. That's something that they've got to get their act together, and it will. It's just a matter of time, but they are going to get extra attention.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when we used to play against the Red Wings, like, boys, we better be locked in, or they're going to blow us out. Like that sort of mentality, like we better pay attention, they make us look silly. But as might be White say, there's $52 million of salary on the power play. Like, at some point, it doesn't matter what the other team's preparation is. You're on the power play. You guys are amazing players. You have to figure it out. Like, that's the job. That's why you guys are as great as you are. Not just that's why you get paid a lot, because that's why you're so good. It doesn't matter what the other guys do. You will solve it and still be able to create and produce. and they will, but they haven't yet. And you could see it. Doesn't always see it on camera during the game, but Nylander at the end of one power play tried to break his stick over the boards because he was frustrated, and it's like you go off, you kind of kick the boards on your way off because you're frustrated. It's just not working for them, and they're wearing it. They want it to work, and it's not.
Lots of movement, Johnny, and it seems like they're trying to be creative and they're trying different things. I've seen them practice this at practice, and it's like these guys are so gifted. But if you look at the Washington Capitals power play over the last 10 years or however long Ovi's been standing there clapping bombs, he literally stands in one place. So why not, if it's Morgan Rielly or Ekman Larson, put him at the top and let William Nylander on one side and Austin Matthews on the other, and as a start, just commit to teeing up one-timers and letting them fly. And then after that, hope there's scrambles, and then just play it like a 5-on-5 situation where it's like, get it, and you're outmanned, or they're outmanned, so just make a quick boom. I've always thought the power play is about a boom-boom play. You get a rebound, there's an open man, get it, one-timer, back of the net. They just seem to be outside, a little bit casual. And in practice, I would run 30-second drill. You got 30 seconds to score. Because it's just maybe we'll get the play, we're waiting for the play. I don't know about you, Johnny, but I've played with some guys where they were so casual, they'd never get the first minute and a half. They'd only get the last 30 seconds because the coach was like, that guy, if he gets 30 seconds, he's going to be anxious and he's going to want to do something. And that's the amount of time he has to work with. They just got to get a little oomph to it. And I think if you get those two guys teeing up bombs, then that opens up that play. How many times did Backstrom get little down low plays because they're so scared to death of that one-timer? It'll just open up Marner at the side of the net and John and whoever else in front of the net. And they also can't be afraid to pull one of them off it. And that's just flat-out truth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a couple thoughts real quick. I think we all heard that old adage, right? When you're struggling, simplify, shoot, rebounds, track down loose pucks, do it again. And there's truth to it. That's why it's said all the time. I think if you look into power play statistics, point shots are not a higher percentage chance. They're a bad shot generally on the power play because, the numbers tell you don't score very often when you do that from up there. So it may help the mentality, but it might not help the effectiveness. The other part of it is that, quite frankly, Morgan Rielly does a lot of things really well offensively. He doesn't necessarily have a big league sort of shot.
He doesn't take slap shots.
No, he takes wristers on the rush. So, there is that as well. So if you have a guy at the top of the umbrella who doesn't really shoot, that teams don't really have to respect, then again they can pack it in and take lanes away. So I get the mentality trying to shift, move it quicker, be more direct, get it to the net more, and look to see what happens after you do that. But these are all things that Mark Savard's a smart guy. He's done this for a while. He's looking at all different options. And as far as taking someone off, doesn't that feel like, I know you don't care, but doesn't that feel like that's rife with drama in this market with what's going on and everything that's happened? Whoever you take off, unless maybe if it's Morgan Rielly because he's sort of gone off it for Klingberg and for Tyson Barrie, but if it's one of those four forwards, whoever that guy is going to be irritated.
Well,
maybe justifiably so.
Hang on a second here. You almost put John Tavares on the third line. What is the difference of that and taking him off PP1?
Because he's better than anyone else you're putting on PP1. That's why he's still good. He's playing the third line because he can't drive offense with his speed. But don't tell me that Matthew Knies is better in front of the net than John Tavares at putting pucks in the net. He's not. There's no way he's as good. Now, he might be stronger at getting pucks back, but he's not as good with the puck on his stick and making decisions and making plays. And that's where John Tavares is okay, wait, I can't win a foot race. But when it comes to making plays, I'm better than any other forward we have.
Okay, my only thing, Johnny, is if you keep throwing those same five guys out there and they continue to stink the joint out, to me that doesn't make sense either. So there's got to be some kind of...
I get you. It's a bit of a conundrum they have to work through because there'll be a reaction and a loud one in the media and maybe a quiet one in the room if they go down that road.
Well, Tree Living since he arrived said,
don't worry about it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Hey, core four. It's not about core four. It's about the team. And not about core five.
You can say all the right things, Hayes, but you know the reality.
I hear you, but maybe that's exactly what's been the issue here for a long time.
No kidding.
Who cares that you think you should be? I'm not saying you. You think you just earned or deserve or demand PP1. No, you don't. And take 2 guys off then. I think it's going to be a big problem. Take 2 of them off. Send them to the other unit.
Listen, the vacuum we want to live in is nice, and you're not wrong. Like, if it's about the team, who cares?
Yep.
Right? Like, we don't have to cater to anyone. Take Austin Matthews off it if that's what makes it better for the team. But we also live in reality where those personalities and their historical success, especially in the power play, make that move not quite so easy to execute without a little blowback. That's all.
Yeah, and that's a reality that's unquestionable, and it's also 2 games, But I
Exactly.
think, in 5 games, different story. 7, different story. And
Now,
we'll see
remember though, Hayes,
how
right?
they handle it.
Down the stretch and in the playoffs, they were no good.
Ugly.
They were no good on the power play. So
Ugly.
this is like, as far as when games that matter, what is the last, maybe 15 games plus the 7 in the playoffs? Like, so it's been going on for a bit that this group has sort of scuffled when it matters.
That's right.
Right.
All right, Johnny. We'll leave it there. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll do it next week.
All right, I'm just going to go back on hold for a bit if you need me in a few minutes.
Please do. Thank you. Doogie, throw Johnny on hold. You stay there, Doogie. We'll let you know when you can hang up.
I appreciate it.
All right. There's Mike Johnson joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline.
JP did let us know that he was there, by the way.
I didn't
Yeah,
hear
I
that.
heard it too.
I'm jamming up JP then. That's my bad. I got to own
I
that
did
one.
hear it, but then I thought maybe I didn't because you were like, if you didn't hear it, I was like, okay, am I
I never
hearing
heard
things?
anything, but I was probably talking and
I
yelling.
think you were.
and-
Yeah, you were talking about something, so
probably
it's not your
truth in
fault.
that.
You were focused on
Very
getting
focused.
some tremendous information out there. Actually, you were patting yourself on the back that you guys won last night. What is it? +4 now? What's the score here?
It's -3. It's a field goal, man. I mean, these guys were
3.
reading goofy statements, calling in, Farhan and Naylor, and now Al's brother and I are doing exactly what we said we would: rope a dope early in the season, and then put it together and start flooring it. Because good teams need about 5 weeks to really figure out who they are and what
I'll
works.
give you all the credit in the world. You battled back because you guys look like 2 buffoons.
Yes, we did.
at one point,
Admittedly,
it
it
was
was
an
really
8-pack.
ugly.
And
It was
to
an
be
8-pack.
perfectly honest, now we do.
It's not going well for you and your partner. It's really, your partner is not in a good place. So
No. He's given me 1 game all to myself today. I'm sorry. I don't
Okay.
care which one it is, but he's under fire.
we got picks in half an hour because we got to pick the Monday night or we're off on Monday.
Nice.
So we got a London game. We got a Monday night. We have a loaded pick segment with Luke and Al's brother in about a half an hour. Dear Hayes will be in an hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Friday is brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. From tip-offs to tie bites and puck drops to pizza, BP's elite lineup of apps, wings, and ice-cold beers always dialed in for game time. Hustle in your local BP tonight. Great weekend for Boston Pizza. A little Thanksgiving at BP. I love it.
Yeah.
And you got hockey going. You've got baseball
Everything's going. Somebody
Everything's
tweeted
going.
out the other day, there's almost too much going on.
Yes. NFL, CFL coming down the stretch. There's a golf tournament. Adam Svensson, your boy, is looking pretty good. And the Yankees punching their ticket last night, and they're off to the ALCS. They wait to see if they play the Tigers or Guardians. Game 5 of the DS tomorrow. Game 5 of the NLDS tonight back in L.A.
Man, people hate the people are acting like the Yankees are back in their glory years with Jeter's going to the World Series. They haven't won in a long time, man.
It's been a long
And
time.
everyone's like, "Oh, I hate the Yankees. They don't deserve this." I used to love the Yankees, man. During that Jeter team and that run, like that was my Brady. Like I lived in Hartford and the Yankees were always on. That was awesome. I think it's awesome the Yankees are around.
Well, Yankees, Mets, if the Dodgers win tonight, like those are just monster
Big
markets
markets,
and
right?
big
Dude,
personalities.
you don't think Major League Baseball wants this?
Of
like,
course they do.
love this.
What if the Dodgers don't win tonight, though? I
Well,
think the Dodgers
Dave
are in
Roberts
one.
can go pack his stuff up in his office.
Could be trouble for Dave Roberts if they don't. You're right, though, Noodles. I mean, the Pods could, of course, they could win tonight. Of course, the
Right.
Padres could. But I wonder if baseball had the choice. Look, let's say the Yankees are in the World Series. If you're Bob Manfred, would you rather they play the Mets or the Dodgers
Dodgers all day long. All day long.
Really?
over
You're
the
getting
Subway
best of
Series
the-
2.0?
There's already been the Subway Series, and you're getting East, West, both major markets. It's a dream come true,
Yeah,
man.
Judge Ohtani.
Ohtani, come on.
I think you're right. I think it is. You get New York.
As
and
crazy
LA.
as that
Gotta
is,
be.
Hayes, like a Subway Series again, I said it last night, would be awesome to see. That would be insane for a second time. I still think Bobby Manns, that doorknob, would take the Dodgers.
Yes, he'd work on his swing between New York and
Dude,
LA.
do you remember that clip going
Kinda
into
love
those
it.
meetings during the lockout or strike, and he was practicing a 4-irons?
My favorite, one of my favorite Bob Manfred
We've got to
clips.
find that. We need to find that clip.
Is there viz of it?
Yeah, there's
I think
vids.
there is. Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was in like a staircase working on his wedge game.
And it was like high tension times. Like things were going crazy. And he was doing the shoulder turn.
Yeah, he had the full like. How would Nicholas swing here? Yeah, that's probably what he would do. All right, Garrett Cole. I'm not the biggest Garrett Cole guy, and to be honest, he didn't help himself with me last night. Let's hear what Cole had to say post game last night.
Fired up. Had a couple IPAs, like with the boys, spraying some champagne. I mean, like, you know, this is the greatest.
IPAs? Come on, dude. Like I'm not an IPA guy at all, and I actually kind of appreciate how excited he is and he's jacked up and the champagne. But when did they start serving IPAs in the clubhouse?
Dude, I thought the common term was like, I love hammering beers with the boys,
Yeah.
not actually describing what kind of hipster
Right.
beer you're
That
drinking.
seems
Like
That
a pumpkin
seems
spice
forced.
IPA.
Yeah,
after
like
this.
anyone
Yeah.
always just says we're gooning beers in the clubhouse. I don't-
Budweiser. Just say Budweiser and move on. We hammered Buds, and that was all it was, right? Like, why mix in olive oil with pumpkin spice IPA?
Dude, it would have been really greasy if he had some kind of homegrown brew that his buddies came up with that he named.
Yeah.
That would have made it worse.
Drank some Screech last night, or like something like just gritty.
Right.
Just say you're hammering beers and you love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. IPAs and champagne for Garrett Cole last night. That's New York. That's Upper East Side stuff.
Yeah, he forced it.
That's not going to fly. That's got me pulling for either the Tigers or the Guardians in the championship series. But he's jacked. You know, the Yankees are jacked up, as they should be. So yesterday we had a moment on the show that will live in infamy. We haven't asked you
Yeah.
about your teeth. Like, did you get them fixed today? Is the poly dent working? What's the
Yeah, what
story
happened?
here? Are we
Dude.
good? How did this work out?
Mike Lane, who's our boss, TSN Hockey, he got me some Polygrip. This
Yeah.
stuff is legit. Anybody, if you're a senior, you got dentures, get Polygrip.
But what's the end game? Like, are you?
Dude, I have to go back to the dentist and I got to get a new bridge. Hayes saw the piece. It's like 3 teeth in one.
I saw it. Hayes saw it. The whole world saw it.
Yeah.
Like it.
Everyone
you
saw
know,
it.
It wasn't one.
Yeah, but
there was
Hazy,
a-
you saw the like what you the,
I know what you're dealing with. Yes, it's a medical issue. It's a dental.
but not
issue.
really. I got to go in Tuesday. They have to make a new one
They have
because
to
that
make a
one
new
was
one for
looking.
you.
Yeah, that one was looking a little grubby, and
Yeah.
they just have to cement it up. That's it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to
looking a
take
little
care of
grubby.
it.
It was like I was looking at it. I'm like, it's a fake tooth. It's not a real tooth, but it's had some wear and tear on it. Like it wasn't looking up to
With the
snuff.
what, though? We're
Did
going
you-
through the drive-through. Like,
Yeah,
what
what
what's
if
going
you
on with this
what if
thing?
you go to the dentist and you hear the lady talking with the doctor about the colors and all of the
The Caber. That was
the Caber,
Brian
Caber
McCabe's.
the Caber conversation from around the corner. Like
Well,
you're
I-
going in there.
You got to brush your jibs, but I don't think fake teeth like that like discolor from like not brushing. They're not even real.
I don't know, man. I think there's, at some point,
Yeah.
there's still, a physical.
Yeah. You leave
Being,
something
like-
out. in
Dude,
the
they're
rain,
not
you know,
even
like-
real. There's no nerves. There's no nothing.
Yeah,
they're
but
not
that's-
real, dude.
There's some sort of surface there that is not like it just immune to every possible thing coming at it. I
Clean
mean,
cars get dirty too. You know.
That's
Like,
right.
You got to.
that's right. Matt. Like rocket ships, these things that there's people like scientists that work hard on this stuff. Even they take some dents and change coloration. Like those teeth are not going to be perfect forever just because they're fake.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm under the understanding you change them out. I had them for
Yeah.
5 years.
Has it been
4
that long?
years.
I guess
Is that
so.
4
the
years.
life of them? Like I don't know anything about them, but is
That
is there a
seems like
shelf
good
life
enough.
for them?
Yeah, 5 years, change them out, just like
I
500
don't think
laps.
so,
Get
dude.
it.
I don't think it's like a routine where you go in there and you just get a new set every 5
Yeah.
years.
Doogie,
No.
Google it. How long are veneers intended to last?
Okay.
Life
I
expectancy.
thought they were 20 years. That's what I was. Because aren't they very pricey? Like they're very expensive, are they not?
Yes.
It's like leasing
Yes.
a car, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, you've started a new trend. Did you see Sarah Davis, our friend Sarah Davis, who's doing the top 10 for SportsCenter this weekend?
Okay.
She has been very inspired by you. Do you want to see Sarah do her thing?
Go ahead.
Yes.
There's something about our top 10 must-see moments this week that is just so personal. Of course, we have that incredible play from Lamar Jackson and profanity from Francis Tiafoe, but it's our number one moment that features one of our own, and it left jaws on the floor, or teeth, really, and no matter how hard we try, it's kind of hard to recreate. This one's for you, O-Dog.
There you go. Look at the jibs falling out.
Oh,
Even Sarah's
my
teeth.
That's
word.
amazing.
You have inspired even Sarah Davis to lose her teeth on TV.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
legendary stuff. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
means
that
you're
was
number
good.
one.
That was
number
good
one in
acting.
the top 10. You've made it.
Yeah.
You've really done it. You've really done it. All right,
is
we'll
so
come back with a veneer update. What's your total is 20 years, Noodles?
I think 20 years.
I'll say 15 for the average person. I think for 5 is about right. I think if we're applying O's daily routine to it, I'll say 5 years.
Why is mine 5 years and Noodles is 20?
No, mine. I don't have veneers, but I'm guessing that they should last 20 years. I could be 100% wrong. I know nothing about them, but it's not my routine. I just don't think it should be 5 years. That sounds really light.
It shouldn't
Like
be described as grubby 5 years in. That's fair, right? If you're 5 years in and it's grubby,
Yeah,
that's an
It's
issue.
a car that's got some rust and some dents in it and stuff. Like it's been through the ringer, I guess. I don't know.
That's
like
right. That's right.
Either way, we got
All right.
grubby shouldn't be the in
Grubby,
vocabulary.
Grubby's tough 5 years in, but we'll see. We'll get you an update on that. Luke Wilson coming up. Al's brother coming up. Dear Hazy B in 45. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Luke Wilson coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll ask him what he was asked last night with Jay. Is Brock Purdy a top 5 quarterback in the league? Brock looked pretty good last night. Niners with a big win. They needed that. They're 3-3 now. And so are the Seahawks. And, Rams aren't great. Cardinals aren't great. I think the Niners are going to figure that out in the end. And we'll see what Luke has to say on that and more. The Hyundai Hockey Hall of Fame Legends Classic returns on November 10th. You can enter online at tsn1050.ca for your chance to be there as an honorary coach for some of hockey's greatest legends. Grand prize includes introduction as an honorary coach, dressing room access, serving behind both the Team Hefford and Team Lindros benches, and 4 tickets for your family and friends to come watch you coach. That's pretty cool. And
Great.
yeah, now that we're into Canadian Thanksgiving, I don't have to address it as Canadian Thanksgiving. We are Canadian. Once you get through that, before you know it, the Hall of Fame, right? American
Everything
Thanksgiving.
starts trucking now, man. It's
Sure
like
does.
Thanksgiving into the Hall of Fame weekend. That just takes you right to Christmas, and then it's like, let's go.
Yeah.
New
Where are we
Year's.
at? Where's everyone at? How we playing? How we looking?
I find, don't
But
you
then
guys
you're gonna
find the
have-
next 2 months flies? From now until January 1 flies.
Yes.
It does, but then I was looking at the schedule. There's like 3 weeks off in February for this, whatever it is.
I don't
4
think it's
nations.
3 weeks. It's in North America, isn't it? I thought it was
know,
just
but there's
in place of
plenty-
the All-Star week.
Oh no, there's games. Okay, so yeah, I guess 2 weeks. 2 weeks off from games.
Yeah.
So
But we'll get international hockey, which I am okay with. It's better than the All-Star game. I hear what you're saying. It's not going to be the same thing, and it will be a hiatus. But
Yeah.
if we get a great, Canada versus U.S. classic game, McDavid, Matthews back and forth, I'll take
Yeah.
that over All-Star weekend somewhere and, players
I
just
guess-
kind of wasting everyone's time.
well, what it does is jams up the schedule. Now I think the regular season ends the 17th of April now, maybe into that weekend of the 19th. Now we're looking at the cup being handed out again on June 24th or whatever it is going to be. The league needs to condense that. I'm sorry.
Not going to happen.
I
We talk
know,
about
but
it every
it's
year.
just-
It's not happening.
It's the worst. I hate it. It's just, but You know what? We got hockey till late June. That's what it is.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, in the end, that's the thing we were talking about with Strutty last hour, that like the Oilers, it's like a cup hangover, but you didn't get the cup, and how quickly that felt like they were back in that building. Like they were playing late June, and then it just felt quick, and you're back to playing, and you're back at the starting line, and how difficult it can be to get yourself back up. You know, and the same thing with Florida. Like, you won the cup. They had a great opening night against Boston. Then you lose, and Barkov's hurt. Like, it
comes at you.
Yeah,
fast.
it comes at you
Hayes,
quick
I
to
told
get
you. I
sparked.
kept telling you for 2 weeks leading up to the season how misery sets in so quick in the NHL. It's like fantastic life, money, travel, but couple losses and a key guy injured, you'd be just shocked at like how the fun meter goes down. You talk about the win-o-meter, the fun-o-meter goes like literally below zero. Mm-hmm. And it's like panic and stress. That's the biggest part about playing in the league for a long period of time, is just managing the stress and staying on an even keel and trying to bring them like a real similar performance, or a repetitive performance every night. Like to just try to do the same thing every night regardless of what's going on.
That's the baseball lifestyle, right? That's why we laugh about like guys like John Gibbons, where like he's just always in a good mood.
Yeah.
You lose 10-0, whatever, we'll see it tomorrow. You win 10-0, whatever, we'll see it tomorrow. It's just the same thing like every day.
Yeah.
It is routine, man. All right, final hour coming up. Luke Wilson, Al's brother, Hazenbro, are seeing the board very clearly, and we're feeling real good going into week 6, coming off a win last night in Deer Hazy B, and our best bet still to come. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.